After graduating high school, I joined the Navy. After a couple of years in deployments, I had completely forgotten about my trivial high school troubles with women and realized that the world is full of oysters if you catch my drift. I hadn't spoken to most of my high school friends in a number of years, and most of them were finishing up their degrees at college. I was gearing up to deploy to Italy, and I saw through Instagram that Molly had gotten engaged to a man she had met at school who grew up close to where we did and planned on going to Europe for a post-grad trip. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but that was a huge disclosure that something insane was about to happen. I went to Italy in October and went to various countries for exercises with partner nations. December rolls around, and I find myself in Munich for a conference. I went to go eat alone and went to Café Blah for lunch, and as I was walking out of the restaurant, I ran right into Molly. Our mutual astonishment was noticed by a couple of bystanders, and after the initial awkwardness, we exchanged tense hellos and side hugs and engaged in typical long-time no-see chat. We ended up walking through Munich together for a couple of hours and talked about our plans like we had never left off, her engagement and my acceptance into Stanford for engineering. Towards the end, the conversation, I apologized for how I behaved towards her in high school and that I hoped she didn't harbor any ill will towards me. She accepted my apology and asked if I wanted to get dinner later, as she was getting on a train to Cologne the next day. I obliged, and later that night we connected for a meal and some more talk. I spoke of my adventures around the world, and she talked about her time at school and life back home. Noticeably, she seemed entirely dissatisfied with her current path. She explained that her fiancé was wanting to move back closer to home, and she didn't want to go back. She'd been in Europe a month and had the same revelations I had the last few years, so I understood her point. At the end of dinner, I grabbed the check and walked her back to her hotel and wished her a safe remainder of her journey through Europe. We exchanged current phone numbers and I went back to the rest of my deployment.